speak, and I honestly have been really disappointed with the debate on the floor today, so I was compelled to say a few words. Not because everything hasn't been said, but because not all of us have said it. The notion of local government aid being described as a debt or being using the concept of a debt owed or being utilized as a tool where you can treat it as a debt, well, LGA is not founded on that principle. It's not founded on the principle of owing a debt. It's actually based on the principle that communities across the state can afford their own infrastructure, public safety, schools, the concept that we help each other out because not all districts have that capability. That's why local metro communities, like the ones I represent in SD 49, subsidize the spending that happens across our state. It's by design, by people before us who thought that we all do better when we all do better. When communities like Bloomington, who at one point were the #1 contributor to fiscal disparities, now was bumped by Minneapolis, it means that districts that are close to the airport, that have a great industrial base, great property tax base, that they actually contribute to the pot where we help each other out. It's a notion that not all of us can stand on our own 2 feet, that we recognize that communities across the state need to be supported because it helps all of us. And I have a business in Minneapolis that I frankly haven't stepped foot at for many reasons, but partly because it's in an area that was in the midst of the civil unrest. And I like to go back to my business, and I like to be feeling safe in my neighborhood, like all of us want to be safe in ours. So to use LGA as a tool or as this penalty that we're going to penalize an area of the state that can't stand on its own 2 feet if a major catastrophe happens, say an earthquake, say a flood, what we've talked about all day today. Not every district is ready for that emergency. Not every community that we represent is ready for that emergency. That's why we have the mutual aid agreements. But LGA, voting for this bill, members, is actually doing something greater that I don't think it's the intent of the author, quite frankly, and I'm not impugning their intent, but we're reading the fine print. And when a community is cut off from LGA, they have to make choices. And those choices are cutting and defunding. Yes, defunding the things that they pay with this local government aid. So in essence, I look forward to seeing my Republican friends defund their police, defund schools, defund healthcare in their local communities, because that is what this bill does. Don't be fooled. I think an hour into debate, there was a post on social media by the majority leader, and it read, and I quote, "Watch, Republicans bring forward a bill makes sure Minneapolis takes care of Minneapolis and pays their bills." Well, again, members, if that is the intent of this bill, I think it falls short. Because if that's the case, communities like Minneapolis can stand on its own 2 feet, and they can pay their own bills if they keep their money within their borders. And I don't think that's the intent of what this bill, or at least what I've been hearing from the majority side today. But if you're getting letters from Greater Minnesota cities and all these associations and that represent cities and counties saying, don't do this, it's because the effect is defunding them. So, members, again, I don't know how someone who represents Rochester will want to defund Rochester, and I'm just picking on Rochester because it's one of our prized rural communities where Greater Minnesota that, we have our prized Mayo Clinic. Would the city of Rochester want to be cut off from local government aid, even if they might be a contributor? They might be. Members, my point is, if you're trying to make a point, this is not the point you're trying to make. This bill doesn't do that. This bill actually defunds Greater Minnesota. So members, I look forward to seeing who's going to vote for this, because you will be held accountable for that vote. And let's not forget that if Minneapolis and Bloomington and Rochester don't thrive, the rest of the state doesn't thrive either. This is an economy. We don't stop at the borders. Pretty much every suburban community helped Minneapolis out in this unrest, because we all were experiencing the same unrest in our communities. We can't escape emergencies. We can be there for each other. We can value public service. And frankly, we just have to demonize one another. And that's what I was so compelled to say. I do not feel proud about the debate on this floor where our amendments were not entertained, because nobody wants to have the debate. We just want to score for our own side. And I don't think that's what a lot of us came here to do, especially the new members who I'm sure are frustrated with this floor debate today. So members, vote your conscience, but in essence, voting for this bill is defunding your communities all over the state. Thank you.